Admiral Richard E. Byrd was a man who lived for the thrill of discovery and adventure. Byrd was born in 1888 when trains were the fastest means of travel and most Americans regarded human flight as physically impossible. The renowned explorer and aviator would live well into his 60s to watch the human race enter into the age of space exploration. As a mid-20th century figure, Byrd faced a world whose area of terra incognita was rapidly declining to the point that the only accessible and explorable terrain was the polar regions. The Admiral was one of the last explorers of his time, and with that, Byrd exhibited extraordinary skills in executing the massive Antarctic expedition. In August 1946, Admiral Byrd set forth to complete his third expedition, Operation High Jump. The largest expedition in history to travel to Antarctica was equipped with 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel. Operation High Jump was an extremely important task for Byrd to take on in a post-World War II era. Byrd was asked to lead a large armada beginning in December of 1946 and extending to March of 1947. However, something strange happened in February. This account is said to have come from Admiral Byrd's diaries of the expedition, not his published journals. After his death, Byrd's son reportedly found his father's diaries and discovered something unimaginable. According to the story, Admiral Byrd caught wind of a cave whose entrance would lead you to the center of the Earth. Leading his squadron, Byrd led several aircraft into the cave, flying underneath the Earth's surface. What the Admiral and his men saw was nothing short of a story pulled from Alice in Wonderland. Inside the cave, the layers of ice and snow melted away into a lush green utopia. But this isn't where the encounter stopped. Byrd recalls seeing a massive city of ice and crystal shimmering in the light. The Admiral couldn't believe his eyes. This felt so surreal and inconceivable. Admiral Byrd tells in his story how all of a sudden he was no longer in control of his aircraft. In front of his plane are disc-shaped objects, presumably the culprits taking control, who then led Byrd and his squadron to the ground safely, whereupon he and his men are taken through a cavernous area deep into the city. In his diary, the Admiral says that within these caverns he meets the Master. The Master scolds the squadron and tells them that he is highly disappointed in the human race, having expected better of them. The destruction of Nagasaki and Hiroshima brought concern and distaste for humans to the Master. Byrd says that this figure wanted to know what they were thinking, destroying Earth and taking human lives in such a horrific way. Byrd's retelling of his account with the Master ends abruptly, but with the Master's hope that humanity will find its way once more. Admiral Byrd's experience with the Crystal City is an extremely important event because the post-World War II era brought on the age of extraterrestrials. Byrd's story is congruent with the various stories told around the world of angelic or UFO sightings. Researchers discovered a trend that after the first atomic bombs were detonated, numerous mysterious flying objects were spotted in the sky. From then on, hundreds, if not thousands, of sightings have been documented. The original purpose of Operation High Jump was, among a long list of other tasks, to determine the feasibility of a large naval occupation in polar conditions. During the Antarctic summer, thousands of men were led to the Antarctic rim to train and test material in the frigid zones, extend American sovereignty, develop establishing techniques for air bases on the ice, and amplify their existing knowledge of hydrographic, geographic, meteorological, geological, and electromagnetic conditions of the area. It was an extensive mission to take place over the course of 4 months, but by splitting it into 3 groups, the mission was deemed an overall success. The private diary of Admiral Byrd is nowhere to be found, but the retelling of his stories sparks interest and suspense in many. Few believe believed that there was a city housing aliens just beneath the Earth's surface, but several have traveled to the southern pole in search of the great glimmering city. On the other hand, a group of conspiracy theorists believes Operation High Jump was running an undercover op with specialized forces. Due to the timeline of the mission taking place a little over a year after the end of World War II, theorists speculate that Admiral Byrd and his men were sent to take down an undercover polar Nazi fortress. We may never know the truth of what actually happened during Operation High Jump, but it makes you stop and wonder, what if Byrd's story was true? Are there extraterrestrials living beneath the surface? Or was it a cover to hide the horrors found in the southern Arctic Rim?